Hello and welcome. My name is JesseMcDesign. Today we're going to be making this leather metal shaping sandbag. Let's get started. Alright, we're back with another quick one this week. I have been thinking about buying a metal shaping sandbag. If you don't know what that is, normally use some sort of mallet like this and you put it on a leather sandbag that's usually 12 to 16, 18, depends what size you get. Leather sandbag that's filled with sand, and you use that to beat sheet metal on to shape it if you're working on like weird crazy curves and stuff. And I've been thinking about it since I want to try to do some more like sculpture type work. I don't really use this at my day job, which is a metal worker on hot rods. It's very rare that I would do anything like that. But I thought instead of buying one, which they can get expensive depending where you buy it from, the size, again, if you get like a bigger one, it's gonna cost quite a bit because it's leather and it usually comes with the sand and everything you need to build for it to function right. But I figured why not just build my own. Super simple. It's just gonna be basically 2 circles. I'm gonna go for, I think, 14 inches, and then with the about a 1/2 inch seam around the edge where I'll stitch it closed, which will bring it down to about 13 working inches, surface working inches. And it's just gonna be basically a circle with a little tag basically at one end, which will be the filling spout, and we'll leave that open, and that's where we'll fill it with all our sand. And I went ahead and I actually went to Michael's. I figured they would have like little bags of sand or something, but all they had were these little jars, and I got a couple of them, so I figured it'd work just fine. And also I might put some of this metal lead shot in there. It depending on where you buy it from. Some are filled completely with just sand. Some have like a metal shot beads in there, like little BBs. So I got both. I might do just sand, I think, unless I don't have enough to fill it. Then I might add some of this shot, and you know, when I use it, I might change it up a little bit. To start off, I already measured out my calipers here. This is gonna be the 14 I was talking about. And I've got new rolls of leather that I've had sitting for quite a while. So we're gonna pick out my, this is the thinner stuff I have. I don't remember exactly the weight of it, but this is a little bit thinner than some other stuff I have, but it'll be perfect for what we're doing. So we're gonna start off by marking out our circles. We'll get them cut out. We'll get a rough stitch groove put in just so we know where we're stitching, and get all the holes punched in, and then we'll come back before we start putting it together. Alright, so we got the main portion here all together. I glued it up and I punched all my stitching holes into it already. Don't know how well you can see that, but I also marked my little maker mark there, and then my little ferret mark there. And then on the top, this is what I was gonna, you know, stick a funnel down there and then fill it with sand or whatever. But on the back I added these snaps, and I think it'll work pretty well. And then, you know, when it's all glued together, it'll just snap together like that. So that'll prevent sand and stuff from flying out. And if anything, if I have to, I don't know how well this snap is gonna hold together. So I might make another little sleeve to put around this to hold this all together. But like I said, super simple project that we got going on. So what we're gonna do now is just spend some time and stitch this whole thing up. Alright, we're coming up on the last little bit here. We got this all sewn up real nice and glued down. All the edges are glued as well as stitched. This thing I don't think will come apart, I don't think. And honestly, if it does, I can just re-stitch it. I made it myself, so that's another plus. So right now, I got this little funnel jammed down the neck of this thing. And we're just gonna start filling it with sand. And if I feel like I should add some of that metal shot that I showed in the beginning, I will, but who knows? We might not need it, so. Alright, so we got this thing pretty much filled almost all the way. I don't want to go too full because we want some space for the sand to be able to move around when I'm beating on it and everything. So I think we got plenty in there. And I actually used almost 4 of these. This is about, I used about 3 and that much of the 4th one. So I'm glad I got as much as I did. I almost didn't. I didn't put any of that lead shot in there. I don't think I'll need it. Again, if I want to adjust things after I start using it and figuring it out and stuff, then I can adjust it and whatever. So one thing I do want to do is that this button has a hole in it, and I didn't even think about that when I started. So what I'm going to do now is shove a paint stick down there and just put a little daub of super glue just to seal up the hole in the little button snap. And when it's snapped, it'll be closed and I don't think anything will come out, but I just want to do that as a little precaution. And then I'll do a very just quick demo of how this works, and we'll get you some final shots. Alright, so there you have it. I didn't want to get too crazy with doing this. I live in a small apartment. I don't want people knocking at my door asking what the heck is going on. But again, this is just something I've been thinking about buying, but I figured why not make it myself. It is also going to be a preview to hopefully upcoming bigger projects. This is a very thin sheet of aluminum. This can be shaped very easily with this, but I do plan on making some sculptures and stuff, not out of aluminum, but out of steel. And I mean, even if this is probably like a 20 gauge or something like that, maybe 18 aluminum, and aluminum is very pliable. You can do all kinds of crazy stuff. You know, I'm sitting here just bending it by hand. It's no big deal. But to do something out of steel, which is what I would do so I can weld it properly, you know, I'm not like a huge aluminum welder. I don't TIG very often. So if I do, or when I get to making sculptures or whatever, it's gonna be out of probably like a 20 gauge steel, so I can shape stuff easier. And you know, having proper mallets and stuff, I have body hammers and stuff that would help, but this is real nice to get things started, and then you can really define and, you know, get into the smaller tips and even smaller stuff than this. Super happy with how it came out. I think the button snap will work just fine. If anything leaks out of there, it's not going to be anything too drastic. All the edges are going to be just fine. You know, like I said, I just put sand in here, and I think that's going to work just fine. If I put lead shot in there, it's just going to make it heavier than it needs to be. So if you like what you saw, hit the thumbs up. It really helps. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe. I'm always over here doing usually some sort of art project like painting or wall decor, furniture, leather products. Who knows? Put in the comments below what I should do next. See you on the next one.